During a family dinner, Dad revealed the unexpected truth. Your research is now worth $1 billion. Mia Thompson had always been the dreamer in her close-knit suburban neighborhood. But tonight, as she sat at the rustic dining table with her parents, everything felt different. The air was thick with tension, both from the simmering lasagna that reminded her of her mother's love and the silent war of words that was about to erupt. The smell of garlic and melted cheese hung over their heads like a comforting blanket hiding a storm. Yet, as her mom's voice rose, so did Mia's heartbeat, quick and turbulent. Mia deserves more than what we can give, her mother shouted, arms flailing with frustration. Unseen strings of guilt tangled around Mia's chest, pulling tight as she glanced at her father, seated across from her, his face a mask of pained silence. Don't put this on her. We do our best, he shot back, defiance lacing his words while his eyes held a depth of sadness that tore at Mia's heart. They cared so much for her, and there she was, caught between two worlds, love and ambition, dreams and reality. And in that moment, her father, a devoted veteran and the stronghold of their family, broke the silence with a shattering revelation. Your research, Mia, a tech company wants to buy it for $1 billion. The words hung in the air like a sacred chant, almost too monumental to believe. Mia felt the walls closing in around her. $1 billion? The thought fired excitement through her veins, but doubt latched onto her heart like a heavy anchor. Who was she? Just a girl from a working-class background. Her mother's face transformed. Was it hope or fear? This could change everything for us, Mia, she exclaimed, but there was a crackle in her voice that Mia couldn't ignore. It was an overwhelming invitation layered with unspoken expectations. Think about the sacrifices we made: school, those extra hours I worked. Her mom added, desperation threading through her tone. That moment, the lasagna cooled on the table, forgotten. The heat of the argument, the warmth of familial love, but also of betrayal hovered like thick fog. Mia felt her father's eyes on her, full of unvoiced emotion, a blend of pride and fear. What do you really want, Mia? He asked, each word echoing with gravity. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Mia's heart felt like it was going to burst. On one hand, there was the hum of potential, success beyond her wildest dreams, a chance to pull her family from the brink, freedom to explore the world. But with that, the haunting fear of leaving them behind clawed deeper into her mind. Would chasing this opportunity mean betraying her roots? Her family's sacrifices weighed heavily on her like a warm coat in summer, comforting yet stifling. Uncertainty hung in the air, thick like the simmering aroma of her mother's cooking. As her parents exchanged desperate glances, each waiting on her response, Mia grappled with the tides of loyalty and aspiration crashing within her. What would she choose? Would she chase her dreams and risk losing everything? Or would she stay, forever bound to the love that had shaped her? The room grew still, thick with the weight of her decision. The dinner table felt like a precipice, a boundary line between the life she knew and the one that beckoned her. What would Mia ultimately choose? Mia's breath hitched, caught in her throat as the question echoed in her mind. The tension twisted and coiled around her heart, making it difficult to decide. She looked into her father's eyes, a sea of hope and fear, and saw the man who had sacrificed so much to give her a bright future. He had provided them stability, the very foundation of her life. Her heart sank at the thought of disappointing him. Her mother's gaze was on her, wide and expectant. Mia, this could set us all free, she said, her voice trembling as though it might crack. We could finally have a nice home, not worry about bills every month. Mia nodded slowly. The dream her mother painted was enticing, yet it felt like a honey trap, sweet but sticky, pulling her into a situation that might leave her feeling trapped. She couldn't ignore the other side of it, the emptiness of leaving her family behind while pursuing something that was, at its core, a personal victory that a silent war raged inside her. Maybe I don't want $1 billion. Maybe I just want to be with you guys, she whispered. The weight of her own desires pressed heavily against the walls of her chest. Just then, her father interjected. But what if you could do both, Mia? What if you could help us and still chase your dreams? His voice was filled with a conviction she hadn't expected. It shattered her self-doubt momentarily. Can I, though? She asked, her fingers gripping the edge of the table as if it were a lifeboat. What if I fail? What if I lose you both in the process? Failure is part of any journey. Honey, her father said softly, leaning forward as if willing her to understand. But staying put out of fear? That's a much bigger loss. His words landed like gentle raindrops on a parched field, quenching a part of her that craved reassurance. Yet, another part of her felt desperate to cling to the familiarity, the warmth of home, and the love that enveloped her. Mia took a deep breath, glancing around the table. This was her life. This meal, this moment, these two people who had loved her so fiercely. But could she bear the thought of an opportunity slipping through her fingers, all while holding on too tightly to a past that might not serve her future? I guess. I need some time to think, she finally managed, running a hand through her hair. Her mother's face fell ever so slightly, but she quickly masked it with a brave smile. Of course, sweetie. Take all the time you need. Mia could sense the disappointment lingering, like an unwanted gust of wind. She felt the pressure to decide, both thrilling and suffocating. Every second ticked through the room, a metronome counting down moments of clarity she desperately needed. As Mia excused herself from the table, slipping out into the cool night air, a flurry of thoughts ricocheted in her mind. The moon hung high above, luminous and unyielding, a symbol of dreams being bright yet distant. She wandered aimlessly, searching for answers in the stillness of the night. What if she could risk everything and find success, a success that wouldn't just fill her pockets, but also pave a path for her family? With each step, the question grew louder. What if this was her moment to shape not only her future, but also the future of those she loved? As she stood beneath the stars, a new pounding in her chest told her that whatever choice she made would change everything, but would it be for the better? The dilemma left her hanging in a bittersweet trance, longing for clarity, but realizing it might take more than a simple decision. Mia closed her eyes, inhaling the cold night air. And then it hit her like a lightning bolt. She had to speak to someone who could help her weigh her options. Someone who would see the potential in her research without the noise of family expectations. But who would that be? Mia wandered the quiet streets, the rhythmic sound of her footsteps echoing against the pavement. The night was crisp, but the weight of the world rested heavily on her shoulders. Each step felt like a step farther from her family, and each breath caught in her throat was a reminder of what was at stake. She needed to figure this out. As she walked, memories flooded her mind, her dad's laughter, her mom's warmth, the countless evenings spent at that old wooden table. It was her foundation, but she felt a growing urge to break free. What good was a stable foundation if it never allowed you to soar? Her phone buzzed in her pocket, and she pulled it out. The screen lit up with a message from Amy, her old college roommate. Hey Mia, how's life? Let us catch up soon. The mention of Amy brought back a rush of nostalgia. Amy had always been a dreamer, just like Mia. Perhaps she'd have the perspective she needed. Before she could second-guess herself, Mia typed back. How about tomorrow? I need to talk. The reply came almost instantly. Yes, let us meet at that cafe we love. Can't wait. The cafe was a cozy nook filled with the aroma of coffee and freshly baked pastries. It was where they dreamed big and planned their futures, a bubble of ambition in the midst of the mundane. But now, it also felt like her safe place, the one place she could strip away the expectations and just be Mia. When Mia arrived the next morning, Amy was already sitting at their usual spot. The sunlight streaming through the window highlighted the excitement in her eyes as she waved. There you are? What is going on? Mia sank into the chair, her heart racing as she wrestled with her words. I'm in a bit of a dilemma. My research, it just got an incredible opportunity. But I'm scared. It could mean leaving my family behind. Amy leaned in, her expression shifting from curiosity to concern. What do you want, Mia? The question hung in the air between them like a weight. Mia's fingers nervously toyed with a sugar packet. I want to do something meaningful, something that could change our lives. But it feels like I'm being ripped between my dreams and my family's expectations. Amy nodded, understanding dawning in her eyes. But it sounds like your family would be proud of you chasing your dreams. Wouldn't they want you to succeed? I know, Mia whispered. But what if my success comes at the cost of our closeness? I can't bear to leave them behind. Mia could see the uncertainty clouding Amy's face before she spoke again. But what if your success actually brings you closer? What if your achievements could benefit them? Sometimes, you have to take a leap, even when it feels scary. Mia considered this. A part of her yearned to be brave. She had been living inside a bubble of fear, but perhaps Amy was right. Taking a risk could show her family the real reason she wanted to succeed, not just for herself, but for them. They spent hours talking, visions of endless possibilities unfolding in their conversation. Slowly, her fear began to transform into excitement. The thought of pursuing something greater ignited a courage she hadn't felt before. As they wrapped up their coffee, Mia caught sight of a magazine cover displaying rising stars in tech, a researcher who had just launched a project that promised to change lives. The headline buzzed in her mind, and suddenly, she felt a flicker of determination. What if, she began, her voice trembling with newfound resolve. What if I really could do this? Not just for me, but for them too? Amy smiled, a glimmer of encouragement in her eyes. Mia, you have to believe in your vision. You are powerful. Mia left the cafe with a sense of purpose burning in her chest. She needed a plan, a way to bring her ideas to life and make her family proud while extending her wings. But it wasn't just about being brave. It was about how she could turn potential into something real. As she walked home, the weight of uncertainty had begun to lift, replaced by a steely determination. But the new questions simmered in her mind, demanding attention. How would she go about taking that leap? And who else, besides her friend, could support her on this journey? Mia spent the evening drafting a plan, her fingers dancing over the keyboard, breaking down her big research idea into manageable steps. The possibilities seemed endless, but so did her worries. As the clock ticked closer to midnight, self-doubt began to creep in. What if she could never pull it off? What if her family felt disappointed? The next day was a Sunday, and the family dinner was always a highlight. The aroma of her mom's chicken parmesan filled their small kitchen, a comforting smell that resonated with love. Sitting around the table with her parents and younger brother, Mia felt the familiar warmth wash over her, yet her heart raced. Her mind was busy plotting out how to share her aspirations without shattering the comfort they always shared. Hey, Mia, her dad said, lifting his glass. What has been happening with your research? The question hovered in the air. She took a deep breath, forcing a smile to mask her nerves. Well, there is something big I want to talk to you guys about. Her dad leaned forward, intrigued. Her mom paused in her serving, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. Go on, sweetie. Mia's heart pounded as she glanced at her brother, who was oblivious to the gravity of the moment, munching happily on garlic bread. I've been working on a project, and it just got picked up for potential funding. It's a huge opportunity, and it could really change everything for us. Her dad smiled, still unaware of the turmoil inside her. That's wonderful, Mia. How much funding are we talking? She hesitated, biting her lip. It could be a lot. $1 million maybe? The words escaped her lips before she could stop them, layered with fear and excitement. Wow! Her dad exclaimed, his eyes gleaming. That's huge. You have the brains to pull it off. The rush of pride in his voice felt like both a warm hug and a sharp knife. What if this didn't work out? But she took another deep breath, pushed down the anxiety, and continued. It might mean moving away, though, for a while for the opportunity. Her mother's face fell for a moment, her smile replaced with concern. But sweetie, you don't have to leave us behind, do you? Mia faltered, glancing at her dad. The weight of their expectations pressed down heavily on her. I want to chase this, for all of us. It's hard. Mia's brother looked up, sensing the shift in the energy around the table. You'll still come back for dinner, right? Her heart ached. Yes, of course, she assured him. But it could mean being away for some time. It's a risk. Every opportunity is a risk, her dad said thoughtfully. But Mia, you deserve to go after your dreams. We'll support you. The words warmed her heart, but also twisted her stomach. What if you feel like I'm leaving you behind? Her mother reached across the table, squeezing her hand. Mia, we raised you to fly. Whatever happens, you should go after what makes you happy. We'll always be here. Tears stung Mia's eyes as her family's love wrapped around her like a security blanket. Okay, she whispered, feeling a glimmer of hope mixed with fear take root. I'll do it. Dinner continued, filled with laughter and stories, but something had shifted. Mia felt the hunger for her dreams spreading inside her. She was filled with a newfound strength that had her nearly bouncing in her chair. And just when Mia thought about taking the leap, her phone buzzed again, pulling her back to reality. A message blinked on the screen. Are you ready for our big meeting next week? Prepare for a surprise. An avalanche of emotions rushed through her. The stakes were rising. As the clattering of plates faded into laughter, Mia took a quiet moment to herself. A path was forming, and she was terrified yet exhilarated. How far could she take this? The question hung in the air like a challenge. Was she ready to take the plunge into the unknown? Mia lay in bed that night, staring at the ceiling, her mind racing. Her family's support echoed around her, but the weight of impending change pressed down like a blanket of uncertainty. What was the actual measure of success? Was it the money, the recognition, or something deeper? Her heart thumped with conflicting feelings. She turned her head toward the window, the moonlight casting a silver glow across her room. It seemed quiet outside, but inside, she felt a storm brewing. Just a few days until the meeting. Would she be ready? The thought both thrilled and terrified her. Morning arrived all too quickly. As she prepared for the day, she couldn't shake the unsettling feeling that something was shifting. A part of her wanted to run straight to her research lab and dive into her project, but instead, she found herself daydreaming about the possibility of leaving home. Would she miss her family? Would they miss her? At breakfast, Mia's dad was unusually quiet. Her mom, sensing the change, filled the silence with chatter about her garden. The clinking of utensils and the soft hum of their usual morning banter felt more like echoes of the past. Amid the bustling of everyday life, Mia felt detached, consumed by her thoughts about the upcoming meeting. The phone buzzed next to her plate again. You good, Mia? Her brother asked, looking up from his cereal. She smiled at him, hiding her worries behind a mask of calm. Yeah, just thinking about the meeting this week. Guess you'll be a billionaire soon, he joked, and they all laughed. But Mia could only muster a weak grin. The day dragged on. At the university, she found herself distracted. Every time her phone buzzed, her heart jumped. Could it be a notification about funding or news from her mentor? But each time it was just another reminder of reality pulling her back from her dreams. When the afternoon sun dipped low, bathing the campus in gold, Mia decided to take a walk. With every step, she felt the tension in her shoulders ease a bit. The trees swayed gently, their leaves rustling like whispers of encouragement. Suddenly, a question forced its way into her mind. What if she didn't pursue this? What if she kept her dreams small, safe within the walls of her family's expectations? The thought chilled her. But before she could spiral further, she bumped into Lisa, her best friend. Hey, Mia. You look deep in thought. Mia forced a smile. Just thinking about life changes. You know how it goes. Lisa raised an eyebrow. Any good changes? Mia hesitated. I hope so. It's about to get intense. Well, I know you can handle it. Just remember, no one wants you to change who you are, only to grow. Her words struck a chord. For the first time, Mia felt hope mixing with her anxiety. Thanks, Lisa. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Mia returned home with a renewed sense of determination. She was ready to face whatever lay ahead, even the unexpected surprises. Later that night, while lying in bed, Mia picked up her phone again. Her mentor had sent a new message. Looking forward to our meeting, Mia? Remember, change can be disruptive, but often leads to great things. Mia's heart raced as she stared at the screen. Was she really walking towards a new chapter, or was she simply spinning out of control? Did she have what it took to navigate this unexpected journey? Just as sleep began to settle in, her phone buzzed one last time. A text she hadn't expected. We need to talk. I have information that could change everything. Her breath hitched. What could it mean? The challenge was set, and deep down, she knew this was just the beginning. But how would she handle the news that awaited? Mia hardly slept that night. The text from her mentor looped through her mind like a relentless drumbeat. What information could possibly change everything? They had briefly discussed funding opportunities before, but this felt different, more significant. As dawn crept in, Her excitement wrestled with trepidation. The next evening, the family gathered for dinner. The smell of her mom's lasagna filled the warm kitchen, a fragrance of home and comfort. As they settled around the table, Mia played with the fork, wishing for answers rather than a casual conversation. Her brother teased her, recounting a hilarious anecdote from school, but Mia barely caught the punchline. Her father's brow was furrowed, his eyes searching the room as if looking for the right moment to speak. "Everyone, can we pause for a moment? I have something to share," he said, setting his fork down. The laughter faded, replaced by a collective curiosity. Mia's heart pounded. This was unusual, this serious tone from her father. "What is going on?" she asked, trying to mask her rising unease. "I've been going over some numbers, tax returns, investments." He hesitated, taking a deep breath. "Mia, your research is garnering attention. Big attention. There are investors interested. Your project could be valued at $1 billion. Silence fell like a heavy curtain. The clinking of plates and the soft murmurs of family chatter faded away. Mia's heart raced, her mind trying to process the enormity of his words. $1 billion? She wanted to leap out of her seat, to shout and celebrate, but instead, she just sat there, frozen. "Seriously?" her brother finally asked, bewilderment etched on his face. "Yes, I wouldn't joke about this," their father replied, a mix of pride and disbelief swirling in his eyes. "Your mentor reached out to me to explain everything. There's a huge market for what you're doing. You have a golden opportunity right in front of you." Mia felt tears prick at her eyes. Emotions rolled over her: joy, fear, hope, and anxiety tangled together. This was the change she had both craved and dreaded. "What does that mean?" "I mean, for me," she whispered, the weight of her potential suddenly crushing. Her father leaned forward. "It means you have a choice, Mia. You can embrace this or hold back. But no, everyone is behind you, whatever you choose." Fighting to gain her composure, she nodded slowly. The idea was thrilling yet terrifying. Could she really step into this world? Questions collided in her mind. Was she ready? Would her family be okay with it? How drastic would her life change? "I need time to think," Mia managed, voice shaking just a bit. Her mom reached out, placing a reassuring hand on her arm. "We believe in you, sweetheart. Don't rush into anything. Whatever you decide, just remember it's your journey. We just want you to be happy." Mia felt the warmth of her family's support, but the pressure was also mounting. This was a moment that could define her life. $1 billion. It didn't just promise wealth. It held the potential for independence and an uncertain future. As the conversation resumed around the table, Mia was lost in her thoughts, her mind racing with possibilities and fears. How would she approach her mentor? Would she really go through with this? The excitement warred with a sense of impending change she could hardly wrap her head around. Later that night, as she prepared for bed, her phone buzzed again. It was her mentor, and she gasped as she read the message. "Let us meet tomorrow to discuss the next steps. I have great confidence in you, Mia." An anxious thrill pulsed through her. She was standing on the brink of something monumental. The question burned inside. Was she ready to leap into this unknown world, or would she sit back and let the opportunity slip away? Mia woke early the next morning. The sunlight streaming through her window felt almost blinding. She stretched and rubbed her eyes, but all she could think about was the meeting with her mentor. The weight of her future pressed on her chest, making it hard to breathe. She needed clarity, some sign or insight to guide her through this chaos of possibility. After a quick breakfast, she grabbed her bag and headed out. The city buzzed with life, but she felt distant from it all, lost in her thoughts. She recalled her father's serious expression and the way her brother's confusion mirrored her own. This wasn't just good news. It felt like stepping onto a tightrope stretched high above a canyon. As she walked to the cafe where they agreed to meet, her mind flashed to memory after memory of late nights in the lab, her fingers aching from typing for hours, the stacks of papers she'd spent weeks organizing. All of it suddenly felt different, transformed under this new light of opportunity. What if she moved forward and failed? What if she took the leap and found the ground was solid? The cafe came into view, its quaint exterior inviting her in. She pushed the door open, the chime tinkling around her. The smell of fresh coffee wafted through the air, a rich, dark aroma that momentarily pulled her from her head into the warmth of the cafe buzz. But the reality of her situation settled back over her like a heavy blanket. Mia, her mentor, Dr. Thomas, waved from a corner table. His usual smile was wider today, a mix of excitement and pride. He had always been her guiding star, encouraging her when doubts crept in. As she approached, he stood and enveloped her in a hug. The reassuring gesture eased some of her anxiety, but not all. "Glad you could make it," he said, motioning for her to sit. "How are you feeling?" "Honestly, like I'm on a roller coaster, but I can't see the track," she admitted, forcing a smile. "Perfect analogy." He chuckled, pouring her a cup of coffee. "You're about to embark on an incredible journey. I know it feels overwhelming, but trust me, this could be your chance to change lives, not just yours." His words ignited a fire within her. She took a deep breath, letting the warmth of the coffee seep into her palms. "So what's next?" She leaned in, her heart pounding in anticipation. Dr. Thomas sat back, a serious expression crossing his face. "We need to start with a solid plan. Investors want assurance. The more prepared you are, the more confidence they have in you." He pulled out a folder filled with charts and projections, details outlining the potential of her research. Her breath caught as she scanned the figures. Everything looked massive, yet attainable. As they discussed strategies, she began to feel a flicker of hope. Could it really be possible to turn her ideas into something impactful? She pictured herself leading a team, her vision shaping the future. But then the doubt crept back, as it always did. What if I'm not enough? What if I fail? Dr. Thomas leaned forward, meeting her gaze. "Failure is part of the process, Mia. It's what you learn along the way that truly matters. Remember why you started this. It was never just about money. It was about making a difference, wasn't it?" His question hung heavy in the air, forcing her to confront not just her fears, but her passion. Yes, she had started all of this with a desire to help people. Wasn't that worth fighting for? As they mapped out the next steps, the fear was still there, but something had shifted. She could see the outlines of a path in front of her. The excitement began to swell again, competing with her anxiety. After the meeting, and with a newfound determination, Mia walked home with her heart a little lighter. Tonight, she would share this experience with her family. The thought of their support fueled her step. But as she opened the door to her house, she couldn't shake the feeling that a storm was brewing. Change was coming, and it was going to shake everything up. But with what she now knew and felt, the thrill of both the challenge and the journey ahead started to tip the scales. Could she truly embrace it? As she walked into the living room, her phone buzzed with another message. It was her father. "I have an important update. Can we talk?" Mia stopped, her breath catching in her throat. "What now?" Mia gripped her phone tightly, her mind racing. What could her father want to discuss? The excitement weaving through her thoughts from the meeting earlier began to tangle with anxiety. She took a moment to breathe, drawing in the familiar scent of home before venturing deeper into the living room. Her family always provided comfort, yet today felt different. "Dad," she called out, hoping he was nearby. A pause answered her. "Back here in the study," he replied, the sound of papers shuffling hinting at his work. It was a typical Saturday, and the late afternoon sun slanted through the window, casting soft shadows. She made her way down the hall, each step heavy with anticipation. As she entered the study, her dad looked up from his desk, a look of determination crossing his face. "Mia, good to see you. You're back from your meeting?" She nodded, a nervous smile spreading across her lips. "Yes, actually, I met with Dr. Thomas. We discussed my research and potential investors." A glimmer of pride flickered in his eyes. "That's great to hear." His enthusiasm felt genuine, but beneath it bubbled something deeper. "Dad, you texted that you wanted to talk about something important?" She paused, gauging his reaction. "Is everything okay?" He motioned for her to sit. "Sit down, Mia. There's something I need to tell you." Her heart pounded in her chest, each beat fueling her rising anxiety. "What is going on?" He sighed, running a hand through his hair as he often done when deep in thought. "You know how we've always talked about the future, about your research? There's been a major development." The way he spoke made her stomach twist into knots. "What kind of development?" She barely managed to keep her voice steady, the weight of uncertainty pressing against her. "Your project, the one you presented last year at the conference, it's caught the attention of some significant investors. They see the potential, and they're willing to back it." Mia's mind raced. "What? Back it how? Let me finish." They believe your research could be worth, well, a lot. I'm talking about $1 billion valuation. A silence stretched between them, filled only by the ticking of the clock, each tick echoing like the heartbeat she felt thumping against her ribs. She blinked as she absorbed the words. $1 billion? Are you serious? Yes, he said, his voice steady now. They want to discuss funding with you. But that also means wait, she interrupted, piecing the details together. You're saying my research could change everything? For real? How? Her father's expression softened. It's realistic, Mia. They're interested in your approach to the problem, and if they believe in you, it could launch your work into a new realm. But it's a big responsibility. There's more scrutiny, more pressure. You will have to be ready for that. And what about you? How do you feel about this? She searched his eyes, needing to know. I believe in you. More than anything, I want you to succeed, but I need you to understand how high the stakes are. Mia let out a shaky breath, feeling both exhilarated and terrified. I've been feeling so lost, Dad. What if I mess up? He leaned closer, his hand tapping gently on the table. Failure is part of it, remember? It's like Dr. Thomas said. You have to embrace the uncertainty. The real question is, are you willing to take the leap? Her heart raced. This was the pivotal moment, the metaphorical cliff she stood on, looking down into the vast unknown. The fear threatened to engulf her, but beyond that was a spark of hope. Could she really change lives? Not just her own, but others too. As she pondered the enormity of it all, her phone buzzed again. Startled, she glanced down to see another message from Dr. Thomas. Can you stay late for a follow-up meeting? It's urgent. The weight of what lay ahead loomed heavily, and a competing mix of excitement surged within her. Would the call lead to her dreams materializing into reality, or would it only amplify her fears? Dad, she said softly, feeling the gravity of his gaze, I think I'm ready to move forward. But just as the words escaped her lips, a familiar chill shot up her spine at the thought of upcoming challenges, deeper connections with investors, and the responsibility of potentially changing the world. Are you sure? He asked, concern etched on his face. More than ever, she replied, her voice steady, yet a flicker of doubt nagged at her. What if this adventure led her to something unexpected, something she wasn't quite prepared for? But there was only one way to find out. As she left the room, ready to face what came, but still unsure of the depths of this journey, Mia could feel change swarming around her like a tempest, just waiting to break loose. And somewhere within that storm, she sensed a hint of clarity. Yes, she whispered to herself, let us do this, but as she stood at her threshold, her heart thudding, she couldn't shake the trailing shadows of doubt that curled like whispers in her mind. What awaited her on the other side of this choice? Mia's pulse raced as she stepped out of the study, her mind swirling with the weight of what her father had just shared. The hallway seemed longer than usual, each step echoing her mix of anxiety and hope. She glanced at the photos lining the walls, remnants of family moments. Even the laughter captured in those frames felt distant now. As she reached the living room, her mother's voice floated in from the kitchen, cheerfully greeting the aroma of spaghetti simmering on the stove. The familiar sounds brought a sense of comfort, but it felt overshadowed by the enormity of the news. She took a deep breath, mentally preparing herself for what was to come. Mia, can you set the table? Her mother called, her voice warm and inviting. Sure, Mom, Mia replied, her voice steadier than she felt. She grabbed plates and cutlery, mechanically arranging them on the dining table. With each clink of the plates, she found it harder to focus on the task. Mia, is everything okay? Her mother asked, walking in with an easy smile. But the moment Mia met her gaze, the smile faded. You look a little out of it. I had a conversation with Dad, Mia said, allowing a flicker of honesty to shine through. Oh, her mother raised an eyebrow, concern tucked within her tone. About what? About my research. It might, she hesitated, weighing her words. It could be worth $1 billion. Her mother's eyes widened, filling the room with a palpable weight. $1 billion? Really? Mia nodded slowly, feelings of both pride and fear bubbling to the surface. There are investors interested, but it's a lot to process. Her mother reached out, placing a hand on Mia's arm. That's incredible, honey. You've worked so hard for this. But you seem worried. What's on your mind? Mia looked down at the table, her fingers tracing the rim of a plate. It feels like I'm standing on this ledge, and if I jump, who knows what's waiting at the bottom? What if I'm not ready? What if I fail? Mia, listen to me, her mother said softly, tilting Mia's chin up so their eyes met. You are ready for this. You are stronger than you realize. Isn't this what you've dreamed of? But dreams can be scary. Mia's voice trailed off, thoughts darting to the potential consequences of her choices. And they can lead to things you never imagined, her mother countered, her tone firm yet gentle. Remember your last project? You didn't think you could pull it off, but look how successful that was. You embraced the challenge, and it paid off. Mia felt a swell of gratitude towards her mother. Being the unwavering pillar, she always needed a reminder that it wasn't just about the outcome, but the journey along the way. You're right, she whispered, renewed determination rising within her. I can't let fear dictate my path. Just then, her father entered the room, an air of authority surrounding him. Dinner's almost ready. Are we ready to eat? As they gathered around the table, Mia felt the warmth of family, a stark contrast to the uncertainty swirling in her mind. They engaged in stories and laughter, but her thoughts drifted back to the meeting with Dr. Thomas waiting for her later that evening. Would it bring good news or open more questions? As the evening wore on, Mia struggled to shake off the gnawing anxiety. The conversations around her flowed effortlessly, yet her mind churned with possibilities. Each bite of spaghetti felt like a reminder of what was at stake. Finally, after dinner had wrapped up and the dishes were cleared, Mia felt a pull towards her phone. She needed to prepare herself for what lay ahead. Before she could grab it, her father's voice broke through. Mia, could we talk for a moment? Her heart jumped again. What was left unsaid? Of course, Dad. She followed him into the study, the shadows growing deep as they entered. Your mother and I are so proud of you. Just remember, stay grounded through all of this, he said, his expression serious yet supportive. I will, Dad, but what if don't doubt yourself? There's going to be pressure, no doubt about it. But you've got this. As they stood there, the weight of his words hung heavily in the air. Mia's heartbeat quickened again, a storm of anticipation breaching the confines of uncertainty. Okay, she said finally, her voice gaining strength. Let us see what happens. But deep down, a nagging feeling remained. What could this meeting change in her life? What sacrifices might come with the success she desperately sought? With those thoughts swirling ominously in her mind, the door of opportunity swung open wider than ever, yet it felt like a gateway into the unknown. As Mia stood on the brink, she knew she had a choice to make. The leap loomed ahead, but would she embrace it, or would she stumble as she took flight? The late afternoon sun cast golden rays through Mia's window, illuminating the scattered notes and plans she had obsessively composed in the last few days. The meeting with Dr. Thomas loomed larger than ever, a shadow eclipsed only by the thrill of envisioning her future. She had to confront every fear, every doubt, and then the bell rang, signaling the arrival of her mentor. Her heart raced. Finding her footing in this swirling whirlwind was daunting. The warmth of home still lingered, her family's laughter, the aromas of dinner, but the thoughts of success and responsibility tugged at her relentlessly. What if she faltered? What if she flew too high and fell? As she opened the door, Dr. Thomas greeted her with a wide smile, a beacon amidst the storm of her emotions. Mia, you're ready. I've been looking forward to our meeting. It's time to carve your path. Her heart skipped a beat. She followed him to the cafe again, both familiar and charged with possibilities, but each step felt like walking a tightrope. Inside, the atmosphere buzzed with chatter and clinking dishes. They settled into a corner, and she took a deep breath as Dr. Thomas unfurled the plans laid in the folder, the projections, the potential, the vision of what this research could do. As she absorbed the paths mapped out before her, a mix of fear and exhilaration intertwined in her chest. This is it, Mia, he said, gaze steady and encouraging. The moment we've worked towards. You have the knowledge and creativity, and now it's about stepping into your power. Taking a deep breath, she nodded slowly, but doubtful thoughts crawled back to the surface. What if I can't handle it? What happens if I compromise my family by chasing this? Dr. Thomas's expression softened. Mia, the strongest foundations are built on ambition and support. Think about why you started this in the first place, seeking to help others while uplifting those you love. The conversation flowed, laced with excitement, and as minutes bloomed into hours, clarifications and strategies turned her self-doubt into determination. She visualized herself leading a team, her innovations breaking new ground. Suddenly, her phone buzzed, and a familiar message popped up. "We believe in you." It was a reminder from her family group chat, back home, a simple yet profound note of encouragement that echoed in her heart. That night, Mia returned home, an aura of confidence surging through her. As she sat at the dinner table, surrounded by her family, she sensed a shift. "I had an amazing meeting, and I think I'm ready to move forward," she announced. The eyes of her parents lit up with pride, and a warmth enveloped her. A collective breath of hope and possibilities filled the air. "What do we need to do?" her dad asked, leaning in, excitement trailing from his words. "Right now, just knowing you believe in me is more than I could have asked for," Mia replied, her voice thick with emotion. Suddenly, at that moment, she realized this was not just about one leap. It was about building a legacy of love, ambition, and strength for everyone she cherished. Weeks slipped by, each day bursting with meetings and presentations. Investors expressed interest, and Mia thrived in her role. Each yes fueled her excitement more. This was her moment, not just to take a leap, but to thrive. However, with the success came challenges. The demands were high, the pressures even higher. Loneliness crept in as long hours replaced family dinners. But Mia held tight to the reminders that she was creating a better life for her family. She made it a point to return home often, bringing them into her journey, sharing both her hardships and her victories to keep the connection alive. One evening, as she looked around the table filled with laughter and stories, a wave of warmth enveloped her. She understood now this was part of her success. It wasn't just about numbers or accomplishments, but also the love that filled the spaces between them. Finally, the day came where a major investor made their bid true, and the project was launched, nationally valued at over $1 billion. Tears streamed down her face as she shared the news with her family. They embraced around her, a web of love and joy as they celebrated together, interwoven in the fabric of accomplishment. Mia had done it not just for herself, but for all of them. The fears that once held her back were transformed into fuel for her rise. She smiled, embracing her truth. This was her journey, and it grew deeper because she was never alone. With the night sky as the backdrop, Mia stood at the threshold of her new reality. The moon's glow was bright, illuminating the path ahead. She was ready for whatever came next, grounded in love, driven by dreams. And in that moment, she whispered into the universe, "I'm here. Now it's your turn." If you want more inspiring stories like this, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss a single moment of the journey. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Comment below with your feelings about Mia's incredible journey and how it resonates with you. And don't wait not even one more second. Share this video with at least 5 friends who could use this spark of transformation in their lives. Let us spread the message together.